today about an opening that's revived a lot recently, and it is called the Gioco Pianissimo, aka the slow Italian, or even the old stodge it's sometimes called, but it seems quite dangerous these days, and I've just annotated one of my losses against it, and there's also another loss against it as well, which I'll put on at some point when I get my annotations back. Now the moves to get into the system are e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop c4. We see this bishop's like pawn at f7 in a menacing position, and the idea is to get Royal Lopez style like pressure, like long-term advantages and potential for violent attacks and all that, and to torture black, but without risking stuff like, for example, after bishop b5, Rajabov has been using an opening called the schileman defense, which is also a bit of a gambit. It's like a bit of a drawing weapon, but it's also really dangerous, and at club level, if you're unprepared against it, you're likely to get smashed. So it avoids stuff like that, and also stuff like the Marshall you can get in the Royal Lopez. So bishop c4, and although f5 is still played, it's like supposed to be like a bit unsound, and to find a refutation, that's beyond the scope of this video. Although I might play it sometimes, but it's not that good. It's because with the bishop on c4 is like point at f7, so it makes it 100 times more risky. So after bishop c4, black might play knight f6 or bishop c5. Now I mainly recommend this just against knight f6. I think if they play bishop c5, I actually recommend switching to the Evans Gambit, which I may cover in a later video. But if they play the more aggressive two knights defense, cancel these moves and have a sip of Vimto. Ready for my over the board match later and Preston Congress this weekend. So then we've got knight f6, and the move you play here, by the way, a lot of beginners make the mistake of playing knight c3. Well, first of all, the move is d3. If knight c3, then this is bad because black has this tactical shot knight takes e4, which is also known as the fork trick, where if he takes back, then d5 forks the pieces, and after say bishop moves takes, black has got a good development and a strong centre compared to white's, and black's already at least equalised, maybe even slightly better here according to theory. So that's no good. If white tries attempting, oops, there we go, whoa. If white tries to attempt his Zwischenzug, bishop takes f7 check, then black can take, and after knight takes e4, d5, check, king g8. Black's got a very strong centre in return for his slightly compromised king position, but once his rook gets into the game, via maybe artificial castle and driving a white knight away, black will be better, so that's no good either. So all in all, knight c3 is just a downright mistake. So you play d3, protect it with the pawn, and now black can play bishop e7 or bishop c5. We'll mainly look at bishop c5 in this video, but I might have a little look at bishop e7 later. So it's bishop c5, which brings the bishop also to a strong square, exerting potential pressure on f2. And now the move to characterise this system is c3. This looks quite tame and harmless, but there is potential to play d4 at the right moments, preferably when e4 is overprotected, and then like drive the bishop away, and then you can like carry on like d5 or something and get some pressure going. And usually keep the threat, keep like a threat under black, and it's pretty exciting. And now black might play a few moves. There isn't really like, it's very simple to play this, as you're gonna see. Like black could maybe play a6, that is what I usually play. Whoops. Right, give the bishop a retreat square on a7. Sorry about that. So my netbook's a bit slow. So then if it's kicked away by b4 or d4, it can retreat back to a7. And I notice that when black plays a6 to give the bishop a retreat square, he shouldn't really play e4 because he's just creating weaknesses for nothing. So the correct move in this position is actually a counterintuitive looking move, bishop back to b3. The point being is to get the bishop out of any potential b5 advances where black can gain queenside expansion, and also have any d5 counterattacks by black. So it's good. And now black might probably play something like, black will probably play something like d6, protecting the e5 pawn, and you can play a pin with bishop g5, but it's not really that great. You should avoid these pins. But e3 is the square. So say bishop e3, and now bishop g4 is a mistake, as you're going to see in the video on my game against Andy Horton, which I will put as a video response. You put the bishop on e6 as black. Now after castles, and now you're going to see one of the best things about this opening. White plays knight bd2, because you see the c3 square has been taken, but we want a knight on d2 anyway, because we have this plan of rook e1, knight f1, if that was drawing arrows. We are going to occupy the f5 square, which is also a weak square in the Royal Lopez, but the difference is what makes this opening in some ways better than the Royal Lopez, is that we're avoiding sharp f5 counterattacks by black and stuff like that, which at club level is priceless because you don't have as much time to study. Like a grandmaster, even grandmasters are struggling against a schileman, but so a club player could get smashed by it. You don't really have to worry about stuff like the Latvian, which is a bit unsound. So rook e1, knight f1, knight g3, knight f5, and if black ever tries to like kick it away with g6, then that square's become really weak, and there's potential for bishop takes h6 followed by queen takes f6 combos, as you're going to see. So anyway, this is awkward to play against. Also, when you play c3 as well, it gives like the bishop a retreat square on c2, so knight a5 doesn't do anything. You just move the bishop and then you're threatening b4 to win a piece. So anyway, black can like reroute his knight as well, or something. Or let's say black plays bishop takes e3 here, and after f takes e3, although white's now got double pawns, he's got an f file for the rook and potential to play d4, so this won't be that brilliant. What also won't be that brilliant is bishop takes b3, because then queen takes b3. In fact, maybe best is a takes b3 just to get an a file for the rook, and this is good for white. So black maybe should play knight back to e7 perhaps, and then white plays rook e1, which also overprotects the pawn on e4 if d4 breaks. And let's say by the way, bishop takes c5 won't be a good move, because after d takes c5, although black's got double pawns, black's got a strong grip on the d4 square, which makes it really hard for white to play d4. And also the d3 pawn becomes a backward pawn, which needs some protecting. And also, you shouldn't do this reverse if you're black either taking. It's an instructive mistake. So let's see, knight bd2, knight e7. And then you're getting your plan with rook e1. And after maybe something like knight g6, knight f1, and then on, I don't know, c6. This looks like a really boring opening, but it does explode into life if white engineers a successful d4 push. Knight g3, etc. And this is a fun opening to play. It's relatively risk-free. You're unlikely to get smashed as white. It's a good opening for players of all abilities. And this is just a slow introduction video of just explaining the basic ideas and plans, and hopefully to encourage a few of you to take it up. I myself would never play this because I find it way too boring, but it's only the start that's boring, and also it's because I don't like these type of positions, these closed maneuvering positions. But if you're playing the Royal Lopez and you're not too keen on stuff like the Schileman and Marshall and the Cordell and all that, all these really sharp lines, then just take this up and you'll have success with it. And good luck with it in your games, and please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much.